fresh meat.
Okay, because Grumpy's got to walk his dogs, all right? Because Grumpy's got to walk his dogs. Speaking of dogs, I had hot dogs tonight for dinner, which is not really a dog, but you know what I mean, guys. You know what I mean. How is everybody doing this lovely, lovely Tuesday evening? Or for those of you in other places of the world, this lovely Tuesday night, Wednesday morning? How is everybody? Hope you're all doing good. I had a pretty good week. Doing doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. I'm loving life. Yeah, that's true, Grumpy. Nina Simone or Dina Washington? Uh I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing great, Jim. I'm doing awesome. I'm glad Grumpy's here to hang out for a few minutes before he's got to walk his dogs. He just asked us a question, Nina Simone or Dina Washington, and I don't know how to answer that one. I'm not sure how to answer that one. Yeah. Man. So I'm like going through some of their songs and they both have some really good ones. I can't answer that one because I don't think I would be like, I don't think I could choose without feeling guilty about not choosing the other. I know Grumpy, but I'm just like, I'm like, because okay, look, I'm good with most artists and bands, but if you ask me what songs particularly, I don't know the names of songs and stuff. And what's up, Mason? I don't know like the particular names of songs and whatnot, so I was Googling them to get a sense of what songs they had, and now I'm sitting there looking at the list and I'm like, I can't choose. I can't choose because if I choose one, I would feel guilty about not choosing the other. So like I can't really choose. And and once again, I'm not good with the names of songs. I'm not that great with the names of bands from that far ago, that long ago, but um like I really like a lot of music from the late 40s and 50s. Um and that whole like the doo-wop era and all of that stuff, I really enjoy those songs. I really really do. I love it. I love that era of music, and yes, if you were to come into the Scarred household, I'd you'd probably hear at least once a week like the Four Seasons and you know some other bands of that era playing in the background while I'm making dinner or something. I love that era. I mean, honestly, the whole reason why my kids even know what a hell cassette tape is, we don't have yeah, mystery that old. Um I was watching YouTube and I forget exactly what it was that I was listening to. I think it was Crosby, Stills and Nash, and they had the um cassette on there, like both the wheels turning, and my daughters came up to me and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's a cassette." And they're like, "How does it work?" And I took one of my old cassette players. It doesn't work, but it's part of like a CD cassette type thing. And I showed them what a cassette is and how it goes in. And, you know, you push play and it plays all the way through until it gets to the end. And then you take it out and flip it over and put it in and push play and it plays the other side. And like they were blown away, blown away. It's basically your era. Yeah. But to be honest, between my grandparents being big into that music and then me liking movies that focused on those eras, you know, Driving Miss Daisy, Back to the Future, um, to a slight degree, Indiana Jones and the big band stuff that they had in, like, say, Temple of Doom. Um, you know, I grew up on things like I Love Lucy. So they had types that kind of music and all of that stuff, and like I don't know, I really appreciate that music. Like I like big band music. I think some of it's really cool. But yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, and also I got introduced to some of that music too because I liked Batman, the 1960s TV show Batman, and every once in a while they would have people on that did that type of music from, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So it to me it was a lot of fun. I like music. I just, like as I said, I'm not that well versed in knowing all of the artists and all of this, specifically all of the songs. All right, Grumpy, thanks for stopping by. Love you too, man. Be careful walking your dogs, all right? Don't trip and fall. So, how is everybody today? I am good. I'm pretty charged up. I slept most of today, woke up to eat, and then went back to bed until like half an hour ago. So, I'm good. I'm real good. Loving life, enjoying it. Um didn't watch much Star Citizen stuff outside of Marcus streamed earlier, and then yesterday Pagan streamed, so I watched Pagan and Marcus a little bit today. So it's good fun, man. Like I enjoy not playing Star Citizen very much anymore. It's I feel stress free when it comes to video games. I really do. I feel stress free, and I gotta tell you guys. So I was gonna stream last night, but I didn't want to stream while Pagan was streaming. Not you know because like I feel I'm gonna take viewers away from him or anything like that. I was just enjoying his stream and hanging out. But I was playing Elite Dangerous, and so I was 3,300 light years. So if this is the bubble, I was 3,300 light years to the south, and I got a bunch of samples and a bunch of cartography charts and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fly back to the bubble, and I'm gonna see if anybody's doing any power plays, and I'm gonna start doing trading. So I came back with all that survey stuff and sold it, and holy crap, I made like $30 million just selling off survey stuff. And then I made like another 5 million with all the cartography stuff we did. Canop, what's up, man? What's up? I don't understand why my restream bot is not playing the sounds. Let me see if I can. See if it'll play it. I hope Restream isn't broken. I changed it. Like, I heard stuff as people were coming in earlier, so I don't know what's going on with that. I really don't know. Maybe it's broken.
Anyway, I started blasting.
I mean, that came up. I don't know why it's not triggering. Come on.
You're fired!
That worked. That worked. Let me try one more, and then I shouldn't play this. I meant to delete it, but I didn't.
Streamer bro, back up.
I should have deleted that. I still might delete it. So I don't know why it's not working, but hey, I don't know. I don't understand why it's not working. I probably need to restart my PC or something like that. That's probably what it is. I probably need to uninstall Star Citizen again. It's probably what it is. So, you guys, Windows 11 strikes again. Yeah, Windows 11 sucks. I do not like Windows 11 at all. I really don't. I really don't. I'm going to have to look into Mix It Up. It's not paid, is it? I hope it's not paid. So I guess we should, like, hold on a second. Boop. And boop. I suppose we should do some reacts, huh? I mean, that's what everybody's here for. So, I don't have very much as far as Star Citizen is concerned. Actually, yeah, I do. I do have quite a bit. So I uninstalled it for that short I did, and then I reinstalled it like a couple of days later. And yeah, I don't think I've ever played it since I reinstalled it, to be honest. I really yeah, I don't think I've played it since I reinstalled it, to be 100% honest. When did I, pardon me guys for a second. I'm trying to remember when I put that video out. Let me pull it up here real quick. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to remember when I put that short out. No, it was a video because it was longer. It was too long to be a short. 2 months ago. Yeah, I installed it. I haven't played it. I haven't played it since then. Gotta love it, right? Gotta love it. Oh, I know why it's not making sounds. I'm a moron. I forgot to do something very important. Now it should make sounds. God, what a moron move. What a moron move. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that, mystery. It does eat up a lot of space.
Fresh meat. Fresh meat.
Now it should work. I think I typed it too soon. Anyways, it should work now.
You're fired!
There it is. It works now. See, you just gotta sign into the damn thing. That's what the problem was. I never signed into it. That's why my account was not signed in. So here we go. Let's do some reacts now that we got our sound effects working. Right? I keep forgetting.
Entertainment.
I keep forgetting to put in the line of code that says ignore stream elements. So I gotta do that. Like,
Suck it, nerds!
so now it's gonna do all the sound effects from everybody that's been talking for a while. So bring it on, guys. Bring it on. Bring it on. Gotta love it. So, and starting, we're not gonna start off with a, yeah, thank you, Stream Elements, appreciate it, bro. We're not gonna start with Star Citizen today. We're gonna do an Ashes of Creation, and then we're gonna do a Star Wars, and then we'll do some Star Citizen stuff. And then
I'm the BBC.
we'll catch it. Marcus, you say that when and your sound effect is, yeah, I'm the BBC.
Hang on, sweetheart. Shame. Shame.
Good God. Oh,
Shame.
man. You guys are killing me. So let's start with, let me put on my serious face. Let's start with some Ashes of Creation stuff. This is Narc, and we're talking outrage at Ashes of Creation.
I'm not quite sure why
Wait.
this is suddenly riling everyone's feathers.
Why did that start way over there? So, Ashes of Creation by Narc, and the outrage that is.
Hey, what up, boys? So with the recent roadmap announcement,
I want to give you guys some context. This is another crowd-funded pre-alpha video game that it's supposed to be a online MMO RPG, and it's big. One of its big things that I started following this for is that it's going to be using static server meshing, and plans on having thousands of players on a single server at a time. So that's one of the reasons why I started following it. Am I putting money into this? Absolutely not. I'll play it when it comes out. I'm not getting involved in another project like that again. I'm not doing it. So that's a little bit of context. Kickstarter, you pledge, you get access to the alpha waves when they come out, and they supposedly are going to have dynamic server meshing here shortly. So let's get into it. Outrage.
there is something people are focused on overshadowing the positives that we're shown. So I want to get the controversy out the way first so we can focus on what
Cosmic.
matters. Farming copium and converting that to ad revenue to fuel my pizza addiction. But before we get into that, sit back, relax,
What an
and
intro.
grab yourself a Kimpa Cola, because $120 to
He
test
needs
a
that
game
copium.
that quite literally does
Whoa. Did you guys hear that? Let me back that up just a little bit. Like, just a little bit.
$120 to test a game that
$120 to test a game. Clearly, Clearly, he has no idea about the Star Citizen Pledge Store. Clearly has no idea.
Quite literally doesn't exist is our subject of focus today, being covered by basically all the creators not huffing Steven's farts. So let's discuss this.
Apparently, Steven is their version of Christ Roberts, so we have a Steven.
Because I'm not quite sure why this is suddenly riling everyone's feathers. Ashes of Creation has been a cesspit of money-grabbing FOMO since day one. Now,
Clearly has not played Star Citizen. Like, $120. That's nothing. That doesn't even buy you that'll buy you a Cuddy Black once you add in the tax, because I do believe it's $115 for the starter package. Like that gets you a Cuddy Black. Like nobody want. Look, the Cuddy Black's good. It's fine to start off with, but nobody settles at the Cuddy Black. They keep going and they keep going and they keep going. It's the vicious cycle that is the Star Citizen backer. Like, I know very, very few people that have the basic bitch starter ship and play with that. I know very few. Very, very few. I know it went from 110. Is it 120 now? Because I know they raised it a few bucks. I can't remember if it was $5 or $10 they raised it, but yeah, that doesn't even buy, like I said, once you include tax, it doesn't even buy you a Cuddy Black.
Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Alpha 2. The dented
So, with the
one,
recent
huh?
announcement of Alpha 2 keys returning at the colossal price of $120, $110, and $100 for their respective phases, which, by the way, for clarification's sake, as I see a lot of people confused about this, if you buy
This is pretty good. This is EA level of money grab when it comes to the rolling out away, like waves of testing. You go 120, 110, $100, and from what I understand, I think
We would be honored if you
oh
would
yeah
join
they
us.
did delay it. Meek, what's up? So this is really, I'm sorry, but this is EA levels of greed when it comes to releasing alpha waves. 120, 110, 100. Oof.
By one phase, you do gain access to all future phases, as well as the beta phases, as confirmed by Steven on Reddit recently. But I digress. A lot of interesting
Steven.
takes have been coming
What's up,
out from
Meek?
various outraged content creators.
I think that it's very obviously capitalizing on FOMO.
It's wild that we will be paying this sort of money to test someone's game for them.
Now that is quite high. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's quite a lot just for an Alpha 2. I've never seen a testing period phase sale as bad as this. Never.
Interesting takes, guys.
Clearly, none of them have been to the pledge store that CIG has. Clearly, none of them have been to that pledge store page on the RSI website, because $120 is nothing. It's nothing when you start looking at that pledge store page.
But allow me to introduce you to 7 months ago, when the prices for these keys were actually pushed with a bunch of vaporware FOMO cosmetics for $250, and nobody bats an eyelid. FOMO, for those of you who don't know, means fear of missing out. A very
Guys, this this is so funny to be looking from a Star Citizen's perspective into the Ashes of Creation perspective, and them going, oh, FOMO, $120, cosmetics, oh my god, and us Star Citizen people, anybody that's been around for longer than a year, go, yeah, so what? This is nickels and dimes compared to what we're used to paying. Like, this is nickels and dimes. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying it's nickels and dimes compared to what we're used to paying. $120, as I said earlier, it does not give you, it doesn't even get you a Cuddy Black starter package anymore. So, like, oof. Night, kiddo. Love you. linguistic? No? I'll think about it. I'll try to tell you in the morning, okay? All right. All right. Love you too. But yeah, I this is really funny looking from the outside and from like really far outside in. Sorry guys, that was my daughter. I had to say goodnight to her.
Common and exploitative tactic used by the gaming industry and real-life retailers alike. It preys on natural human psychology to create false scarcity that drives you to make a purchase you might not have made for fear of, yes, you've guessed it, missing out on exclusive items. Prior to Alpha 1, access to the game was being sold for $500. Also jacked up by a shitload of cosmetics that don't exist, and I've been stirring up a stink about this practice ever since back then. I simply do not agree with Ashes of Creation's monetization methods, and that's why I've never used any of their pyramid scheme style referral codes. And
don't go to the RSI website. I really want to go to the comment section and just pin the pledge store to the comment, but I don't know if he has his YouTube set up where you can leave links. A lot of people have that disabled.
And I will continue to never use them. But just take the bag, bro. Otherwise someone else will. Take what bag? You only get benefits when the game actually launches, and I'll be grave dust in my...
Look, I can only afford one pre-alpha game that... Now, thankfully, Star Citizen... What's up, Captain Dirty? It has been a minute, man. How you doing? I can only afford getting into one game that promises a lot of things and is still an alpha. I cannot do it with another game. I am not going to support Ashes of Creation until it's out, and then I'll buy the game if it's any good, but we don't know if it's any good. And, you know, let's talk about Star Citizen, for example, okay? I'm $600 in, and then when you start adding the pedals and the joysticks and everything else that I've gotten along the way, new keyboard, it very quickly gets up to about $1,000 for one game, and I'm not going down that road again. I'm not doing it again. That's just me. I'm not doing it.
Coffin by the time that happens. But Steven and his team have always claimed that they don't need our money, that the game...
I'm sorry, Chaos Squad's a friend of the channel. You know, all of you guys are friends of the channel, and I appreciate all of you. I just haven't seen Chaos in forever. I have not seen him in a while. I haven't seen any videos. I haven't seen him drop by the channel in quite a long time. So I'm really happy you stopped by, and I am doing great. I hope you're doing fantastic. And yeah, I hope you're doing well, man.
Is already fully funded by his infinite bank of holding, and that you should not purchase these keys.
The bottom line is I am committed to this project's success and completion. And that means that when it comes to funding for the additional years that perhaps were not planned for, that's coming out of mine and John's pocket.
But then he'll gush in the very same live stream about how amazing this world boss is, how impressive these story arcs are, and how the game is starting to feel really great, guys. But that is just standard exploitative FOMO tactics. Here's the problem with these keys and why people don't agree with it. Intrepid changed the whole meaning of what this Alpha 2 was supposed to be and what they spent 8 years selling it as. People who spent the money were expecting the Alpha 2 launch.
I didn't know that. Guys, it's been 8 years for this game. I really did not know that. Like, I'm kind of shocked by that. I thought this was like something relatively new. I didn't know it had been 8 years. Yeah, and you know, speaking of games in development still, did you I didn't realize until I bought and played Escape from Tarkov that is still a beta. It's been a beta for 8 years, I think. Six or 8 years. I had no idea it was still a beta game until I bought it, and you know, the launcher comes up and it says beta across it, and I'm like, well, what? Like, it's still a beta. And then when the patches come out, it's beta version blah 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 blah. Like, I had no idea it was still a beta. So yeah, it's surprising me.
launch to be a fully persistent game as stated by themselves in their Kickstarter. And I quote, Alpha 2 phase is planned as a persistent testing phase of the game. This means access to the testing servers will remain open and available until launch. You can't just change the meaning of that 2 months before the launch, slap a $120 price tag on it, and think everyone is going to be okay with it.
I think our Alpha 2 has over 100,000 people that have purchased into it, so it's a pretty significant testing event.
Yeah, we were originally going 30,000.
I know.
Now
So they made over $10
obviously
million.
That explodes when we get closer to Alpha 2 testing.
Is the 100,000 testers you had back in January
time.
2023 not enough testers for you to get proper feedback? What other developer has had the privilege of having
You're
over
probably right,
100,000 testers to ensure their systems are presentable to the public? We're right off the back of massive Kickstarter scams like Chronicles of Valeria, Dreamworld, and Camelot Unchained.
You know, look, I'm a small content creator. I don't presume everybody watches my shit. And honestly, I wouldn't watch my own shit. Because, and I really only do when it's edit time or I do a premiere. So that's the only time I really tend to watch it. Or if somebody says something in a comment and is like, at 1432, you said this, I'll go and watch to see what I said and then comment back to them. But, I haven't played in a long time either, Dirty. Like, I don't see a point in it right now, and I'm just not happy with master modes. I'm not happy with the inventory system. I'm just not happy with a lot of things, and I'm not happy with the bugs, etc. And I chose to remove myself from that, and I'll continue to cover it and just remain on the other side of the glass and tap on it every once in a while. Maybe dip my finger in there, test how warm the water is. But I'm not going full blown back into Star Citizen anytime soon. And that's a personal choice. Now, if you know Mr. E wants to play, if Jim wants to play, Pagan wants to play, or whatever, all the power to you. I'm not going to tell you it's a terrible game, don't play. I'm not going to be that kind of guy. But if you ask my opinion on it, I'll just say no. I'm done. I really am done. You fell in love with a raft only to find out it zips you out in space during quantum. Yeah, there's a few ships that do that. The Carrack, I'm not sure if it still does or not, but I know the Carrack would rip people out of the seats during quantum. There's a couple other ships that do that too. The Cuddy, I know if you got up, like if somebody was in, if the pilot stayed in, but if you got out of, like, say, the co-pilot chair or the turret gunner's chair, it would zip you out into space as well. So there's still a few ships that will do it, and occasionally ships that are not known to do it will do it because of desync and server lag and all of that other crazy stuff. I know for a while the MSR would, when you got into the seat and then got out of the seat, it would eject you through the top of the ship. So that was crazy.
So it's paramount that Ashes of Creation avoids the same tropes these games went through or risk being labeled the same as them, regardless of how good the game looks or how impressive their team is. A good game alone isn't enough to succeed in this age of social media. Large content creators can literally tear your game down at the whiff of some blood money. Your public perception matters a lot. Instead of learning from mistakes and growing as a company, like I'm trying to help them understand through various videos, they choose to bury their head in the sand and pretend everything is okay. Everything is not okay, but it's okay.
Do you guys remember when the elevators would eat you and kill you, or eat you and suck you through the elevator and jettison you out into space? I remember that. My favorite though was when I got locked out of 318, I would still watch Marcus play. And during the 318 through 319.0 patch, if you hit the ejection on, like, say, the Gladiator or the Arrow or any other ship that had an ejection seat, it would, Marcus and his community were calling it the size 25 ejection seats, because you could be sitting in Lorville on the ground in a hangar and pull the ejection seat and be like like 5 or 6 kilometers off to the left or right of Everest Harbor above. It was so crazy. Cracked me up every time he would land and be like, I think I'm gonna log off after this. pull the ejection seat and it just launch them into space. It was crazy.
Pay to admit that. In every single one of my videos addressing community concerns, I explicitly state that we still support Intrepid and we hope that they take our concerns and learn from them, like they promised they would these last 3 years.
See, that's exactly my feeling. I'm sorry I keep pausing this over and over again, but that's how I feel with Star Citizen right now. Like, look, you can think I'm being negative, you can think I'm being a bad guy, you can think I'm, you know, just here to talk shit about Star Citizen, and that's not the case. If you enjoy playing the game, dude, enjoy playing the game. Just play it, enjoy it. But when it comes to me being negative or providing criticism to the game, it's not because I hate the game or I hate the project or I hate Christ Roberts and all of that. I want the game to be better than it is, right? And I want CIG to listen to even my very small community, but we echo a lot of the same concerns that some of the larger communities within Star Citizen, you know, like when Grumpy Eye was doing it or Salty was doing it, or, you know, I'm trying to think, Camerl or Camerl, however you pronounce his name. Some of the stuff that they're saying, we've been saying for a long time, they've been saying for a long time. Take that criticism and improve what you're doing. And it's not just, I'm not trying to be negative to get clicks and views and all of that. I truly do love Star Citizen and I want it to be a great game. I don't see it being a great game right now. Thanks, Canoff. Appreciate you.
Nobody is asking Intrepid for dates on this roadmap.
Yeah,
nobody
Chaos.
asked
It's
you,
been
Steven,
rough lately.
to drop a quarter announcement last year. Nobody put a gun to your head and asked you to do this like some people are claiming.
Because I think there was a gun to their head, and it was a lot of community people.
I think sometimes Intrepid Studios, or maybe just Steven, forgets the audience that he's trying to appeal to. The jaded MMO veterans who are desperate for a good MMO, and the younger audiences who have heard the amazing stories of how good an MMO can be. Is it really surprising that people who have spent the last 20 years being screwed over again and again and again by corporate are acting defensive and hostile when you're hell-bent on using deceptive marketing practices and avoiding the truth? Because that's all we want. The truth.
I think that Steven and the team could have done such a better job.
I think that also sums up the Star Citizen community as on a whole as well, because, you know, look, let's face facts. I'm older than most of you guys in chat, right? There's only a couple of guys that have me that are older than me in the chat. And I grew up playing games like Wing Commander, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Descent 2, Aces over the Pacific, Aces over Europe, Jane's Aircraft Simulator, you know, the Apache game, F-16 Fighting Falcon, the A-10 game. Like, I grew up playing those games from, you know, MechWarrior 2, MechWarrior 3. I grew up playing those games in the 90s up until, you know, the 2000s-ish. I kept up with a lot of those games. I have, when computers used to have, because, you know, now we're on USBs. I had a pair of the original Thrustmaster Warthogs with the rudder pedals, the joystick, the throttle, but they used the circular pin inputs, so those don't work on modern day computers. So I got rid of those years ago. I had all of that stuff for flight sims and you know, MechWarrior and whatnot, and I have been longing for a game like Star Citizen to come out where I could do all the things that I could do in Call of Duty and X-Wing and put them all together into one game. And when I was introduced to Star Citizen, I was like, oh my God, it's the dream come true. I love this game. It's great. And as the years went on, the the cracks started to show. And that's a whole nother story. This community has been starved for a game like Star Citizen for years, and we want a game. We want a game like that. The problem is once again, when we provide our feedback, our criticisms, and our negativity to CIG, we get shut out. And really the basic thing, and he just said it, the basic thing that we're looking for is the truth. We want the truth. And we don't get the truth from them. We get a lot of dancing around the questions, or my favorite is no one questions. No one questions. So, yeah. And I don't know. I hope one day it changes, but it doesn't seem like it's going to. As long as they're making money, they're not going to change.
Job by just saying, guys, listen, running this shit's expensive. It's taken longer than we've expected. Inflation is high. We're low on money. We're charging $120 for the alpha.
You can't start preaching to content creators and your so-called wholesome fan base to defend your bad decisions when you're terrified to tell us the state of the game. These problems that are arising right now, this huge explosion of controversy, are the exact things that I was trying to preach in my video. The exact things that I knew were coming if Intrepid continued to ignore outstanding concerns from the community. And don't get me wrong, right? Obviously, game development is difficult, and Ashes of Creation is an incredibly ambitious game, but you can't expect people to care when you've
Nuh-uh, dude. Nuh-uh, dude. Star Citizen. Nobody's ever done anything like Star Citizen before. Its scope, its size, its echo all the DG 360 talking points.
Tried to milk them with Kickstarter packs you claimed would have the game released by 2020, a monetized battle royale with a battle.
Wow, they were supposed to be out in 2020? Sounds familiar. Wow. Wow.
Pass containing cosmetics that don't even exist in your game anymore, so you had to make refunds.
No,
a $500 Alpha 1 testing phase that you claimed helped development, but now seemingly has no relevance to the current Alpha 2 due to nothing actually existing from that phase. Followed by 3 years of selling FOMO $250 access to a test we still can't play, then presenting a $120 Alpha 2 key that has nothing else attached to it except the promise of an unplayable, bug-ridden alpha test that cannot be criticized after 8 years because it is, after all, only an alpha. Can you really not see why they're...
It's an alpha, bro. It's an alpha. Oh, okay, okay, Canop. We'll check that out. We're gonna do another video after this, and then we'll check out what Canop sent, and apparently what Backspace is talking about. Which, by the way, I don't have. I didn't set up anything for Backspace, but Backspace has got a YouTube page. Go and check him out. And yeah, I think my favorite video series he ever did was the seven deadly sins of Stanton. It was fantastic.
There's a backlash here. Consequences to your actions is what
don't
normal
like
people call it. Ultimately, I
find
just
them
want the game
annoying.
to be good. And if this Alpha 2 ends up being 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, guess what? I'm still going to be here, giving Intrepid Studios
hate the
feedback,
man, I just don't like
preaching against these scummy monetization
people that don't
practices,
like me.
and working my ass off 18 hours a day, trying to pay my rent, making videos for a game that quite literally doesn't exist, because I am just one nerd, desperate for a good MMO. And I'd have hoped the audience...
There's so much reflection in this game from its content creators and its community and the FOMO and the pricing back towards CIG and Star Citizen and the content creators there. And it's like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's incredible to see this from the outside, like completely as an outsider, and hearing this information. Like, it's wild.
I've grown over the last 4 years, built off the back of Ashes of Creation, would be enough to help Intrepid see how many people like me there really are. I simply cannot support the monetization methods chosen to fund this game, and I've said this for the last 4 years. But I will continue to root for the team at Intrepid Studios as they're clearly cooking up a fantastic game that I believe will shake up this genre, because I'm high on copium.
Professional dick eaters. It's not a good value. It's all fake. They've tricked you into believing a lie and living inside of a box that they built to make money. Stop doing that.
That was good. That was really, really good. So I'm gonna like that one. That was well done. Thank you, Narc. I'm gonna copy the link for you guys. Here you go. Here you go. That was interesting. As I repeated many times, very, very cool to look from the outside in and have no idea what's really going on and have that little tidbits of information drop throughout the video. That was it was pretty eye-opening. It really was. It was very eye-opening. And maybe one day they can pull it off. Like maybe one day CIG can pull their project off. I mean, we'll see though. We'll see. All right, guys, we're going to do a little Star Wars today. So there's a big and I hope this video that I'm about to click on says what I'm hoping it says. There's a big problem in Star Wars with the writing, and I'm not talking about continuity, because continuity can be messed with without having much damage done to the story, depending on what it is, right? The problem I have is, what's up, Squirrel? The problem I have with current Star Wars is the way the characters are written and the way they act within the universe that is Star Wars. So I'm hoping this kind of covers why I feel that Star Wars is not in a good spot. Now, don't get me wrong, Rogue One was Disney's first movie, and that one was excellent, and they did a very good job of doing that movie, but pretty much everything since then has been meh to garbage, and I hope that change. Mandalorian season 1 was good, but and season 2 was all right, but it just meh. So, well, like I said, I hope this video really kind of puts it all together. This is by E.C. Henry. Luke Skywalker wins by losing. Load. Thank you.
Something I find really interesting about the original Star Wars trilogy is how underpowered Luke Skywalker is. Now, it's not like Luke starts from nothing. He does have an important lineage, and he does bring certain skills to the table despite his provincial upbringing, but he's certainly not some wonder child or chosen one. He has big shoes to fill, but we don't find that Luke is particularly revered or even that competent. In the first film, we find that he's easily deceived, he gets beaten up a few times, and
I mean, he's, like he said, he's naive. He's a child. I think he's 17 or 18. He thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't know anything. Like most of us when we were 18 years old. Like it, yeah. And I think they did a good job of portraying him as basically, he was basically just a really big kid. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm 43 and I'm still just a big kid, but he was easily tricked, as he said. He got beaten up a few times. He, you know, lost his temper at just about anything and everything, especially when Han called him out. Yeah. He's a character that we can relate to.
And even the things he's allegedly good at, like piloting, he doesn't perform all that better than his peers. And obviously this is just good character writing. Up until recently, it was expected to start your hero off at a disadvantage so he can learn and grow and become more competent as the story progresses. But Luke, despite appearing like a very archetypal expression of this sort of hero, kind of defies the mold a bit. For instance, the one thing that he's innately good at, as introduced in the first film, that is piloting, he kind of gets worse and worse as the films progress. Luke goes from destroying the Death Star to getting shot down at Hoth. Wedge is the piloting hero of that.
So, okay, let's... There's one fallacy in this argument right here about Luke getting worse and worse with piloting. He doesn't get worse and worse. the problem is when he gets shot down in on Hoth, he is doing, now this is in the books more than it is in the movie, they're doing a maneuver where they're getting the snow speeders stacked up like this, right? And it's to keep the lead one is able to see what's going on and calling out to the other snow speeders what they're going to do, while the snow speeders are stacked behind 3, 4, 5 deep. They are being protected by the lead snow speeder, and then they break off and do their attacks, whatever they were told to do by their team lead. Luke was in the lead ship, so he got hit. That's just, I mean, it's just a numbers and a luck game, right? It really is. You're holding a formation to protect your pilots till they can break off and get the attack in on the AT-ATs. So, and they don't do a very good job of showing that in the movies. When you read the books, which, you know, that's asking a lot out of people to read the books. It explains it far better that they're doing this delta pattern to their attacks to keep them low in file and keep the lead one is protecting the rest. So that's why he essentially gets shot down.
That battle, and Luke crashes pretty much immediately on Dagobah. He crashes that speeder bike.
Okay, he crashes on Dagobah because he can't see shit. The scopes are blacked out. He can't see. He tries once again in the book, he tries to reach out with the force to feel where the ground might be, but it's so covered in living things that he can't figure out what's what. So there's that. And then piloting a swoop or a speeder bike is much, much different than piloting a ship or something like that. And yeah, you're not reaching over and punching the guy while you're flying. So, you know,
like too, if that counts as piloting. And throughout all 3 films, Luke is constantly getting injured and he struggles against his adversaries to the very end, whether that be at the hands of Sand People, the Wampa, Darth Vader. He even seems to struggle a bit when he contends with a single scout trooper on Endor, even though he does look pretty cool when he eventually wins that confrontation. And as I mentioned before, Luke...
Yeah, but you're fighting against a single stormtrooper flying at, 130 miles an hour on the forest floor, trying to avoid trees and anything else that might reach out and just absolutely wreck your day. Jedi or not, when you come to a sudden stop at 130 something miles an hour, you're not going to have a good day. I don't care who you are. So, but also it's a movie and we need it to be exciting and we need our hero. I'm sorry, but the best heroes in television, movies, comic books, they all struggle before they achieve greatness. And when the next new villain comes around, they struggle again. I mean, Batman does it well, Daredevil has done it well. Superman's a little overpowered for most of his villains, but I don't know. I like Luke because, like he said, he loses more than he wins, and that makes the struggle that much more real. Stop
does save the day by destroying the Death Star, so he clearly has his share of triumphal moments, but he only survived long enough to do it through the assistance of R2 and Wedge and Han and Obi-Wan's encouragement. Luke needs a team, and ultimately we'll see Luke's accomplishments overall tend to become less extravagant as his powers are allegedly growing. He never tops blowing up the Death Star, and his most epic accomplishment in the next film is taking down an Imperial Walker single-handedly, which is a really cool scene, but it's something that he could only do after getting shot down first. And his climactic combat in Return of the Jedi, where he defeats Darth Vader, is actually his character's lowest point from a moral perspective. Luke really seems to struggle in the Star Wars universe more than any of the other characters. In fact, Luke is constantly getting rescued, arguably more than he rescues his friends. Throughout the films, he's rescued by Obi-Wan, R2, Wedge, Han, Leia, Lando, and Chewie. Even Darth Vader himself rescues Luke. So if Luke isn't some awesome epic...
Once again, to be fair, how is Luke gonna save himself when he's just being, fried? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. That's a little harsh, my guy. That's a little harsh.
dude who's always right and always the coolest and most powerful guy in the room, in what sense is Luke the hero of this story? Because Luke Skywalker is a good person. He has a noble character marked by selflessness, perseverance, faith in his companions, and a compassionate streak that sees the potential for the redemption of evil into good. So sure, Luke didn't have it all figured out when he resolved to rescue Princess Leia on the Death Star, but his willingness to put himself in peril for someone he's never met is the pinnacle of honorable behavior. And Luke messes up big time in his confrontation with Vader, who easily beats him and puts him into a seemingly unwinnable situation. But Luke is
one of my favorite things about, so first of all, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, followed by maybe Return of the Jedi, and then probably Revenge of the Sith, and then everything else pretty, you know. But anyways, the thing I love about Empire Strikes Back is if you go back and you watch that, there's something that not a lot of people notice the first few times they watch it, or even the first 20 times they watch it. Vader fought Luke with one hand the entire time. One hand. He was mostly just feeling him out and testing what he could do. And it wasn't until when Luke gets that strike on his right pauldron that he puts two hands on the saber and starts going at Luke. That's when the switch gets flipped for Vader. So I think, yeah, like, I think that's a really cool thing that they did in Empire Strikes Back.
Willing to die good rather than capitulate to the dark side. And ultimately, Luke's most incredible triumph came about through his relentless moral fortitude, where through inaction and the willingness to lay down his own life to spare the life of his father, he ends up saving his soul as well. Luke Skywalker's story highlights how heroism ultimately lies in strength of character. Luke, despite having his fair share of exciting victories, doesn't become the hero of the story because he's super powerful and gifted and constantly amazing his friends with how cool he is, but because he has a heroic character. In fact, you could make the argument that an awesome, flawless hero is sort of self-defeating because it's...
Can anybody say Rey? Can anybody, like, for real, Rey is the exact opposite of what this guy is talking about here. And she doesn't lose. She knows everything. She can do everything, and she can do it better than everybody else. And that's one of the reasons why the prequels, in my opinion, were doomed for failure from the very beginning. Is the first movie, I've watched the first movie, or the first of the sequel movies, 2 times or 3 times, and I can't help but want Finn to be where Rey is. I wanted John Boyega's character Finn to be Rey. I wanted him to be the Jedi. I wanted him to come from the humble... Luke is sad because Outlaws sucks. But I was hoping John Boyega would have been the Rey character and Rey would have been John Boyega's character. I was hoping we were going to get a former stormtrooper that became a Jedi. That's what I was hoping for. I really was hoping for that, and we didn't get that, and I felt cheated, honestly. I feel very much cheated.
Only through suffering and failure that the true heroic qualities are proven. And that's why it's the perfect climax for Luke's character that he doesn't prove his heroism through defeating the bad guys. Let others have the glory there. Instead, he proves his heroism when his moral character serves as a pattern to imitate and to do better and step out of the darkness.
Well, that was a cool little thing, and it kind of did say what I was hoping he would say, but yeah, writing characters in this way makes them far more relatable than most of the characters that we get in modern cinema or TV shows. We need people that fail and have... I guess you're right, Grumpy. I guess you're right. Which is why I absolutely love Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. And all the Alien movies with Ripley. I mean, clearly I hate female leads, but and even then, like if you look at Kill Bill and you look at Alien, like Ripley's not automatically a badass. Like the first movie, she's running like hell and scared the whole time, and she wins by, you know, being smart and luck is really what it comes down to. And that of course, Grumpy, of course. And then, you know, the second one, you know, she goes to rescue Newt, same thing. It's you know, it's a lot of luck. She gets out of there with Newt, and then the Queen and her fight it out on board, I forget the name of the Space Marines ship in that movie. I cannot remember the name of it. It's said like 3 times. But where she's in the power lifter and she fights the Queen, she was more in her element because she had been using those for like a year before they got her. But yeah, and same thing. It came down to using her brains and a lot of luck. You know, Kill Bill, she wasn't completely overpowered. She got cut up, beat up. She got buried alive. You know, and it's in male or female, like it doesn't matter. We all can relate to her with her reason why she went on this on this hellbent crazy revenge story. Her baby, right? Everybody's like, oh man, they took her kid. Damn, yeah, go get them, man, go get them. So yeah, I don't know if I shared this or not, so I'm going to share it again. I think I shared it already, but yeah, I enjoy well-written characters and well-written stories. The movies don't even have to be that great for me to be like, yeah, this movie was fun. But yeah, the prequels could have been amazing. You know, honestly, what made the prequels fun for me, I was really annoyed with the Alec Guinness Vader fight. You have the season man finally meets his old friend Nemesis, and for the last time, and Bo just, nope, I'm out. I mean, at the time there was a reason behind it, and also in the 70s when they were doing this, you know, the lightsabers themselves, they had a big wire that ran down the sleeves and then connected to a giant battery pack. The battery packs were like this big, to get the blades to spin. And so there wasn't a lot of stuff that they could do with them, unfortunately, which is why in Empire Strikes Back, it gets a little bit more acrobatic and a little bit crazier because they were able to do different things with the special effects where they didn't need the wire and the motor and the battery and all of that stuff to overlay the CGI. So yeah. I mean, that's the reason. It sucks. I mean, if you guys really want, let me pull it up here. I'm not going to play it on here because I'll get in trouble from all the sound. Check out this Scene 38 Reimagined. I'm going to put the link up for you guys. Check that out. This is really good. I really liked what they did here. I've watched it a couple of dozen times, and yeah, I really enjoy it. But yeah, check out Star Wars Scene 38 Reimagined. It's really, really good. I like it. And I think it was only a group of like a dozen guys that did that. So it's pretty cool. Big fan. Like I said, watched it dozens of times. A power bank by lore. Yeah. That's going back like 5,000 or 6,000 years in the Star Wars lore. But yeah. So unfortunately, it's that time where we got to watch a Star Citizen video before we watch another video. Big elephant in the room, 4.0 delayed. So it says I watched this whole thing. I didn't watch the whole thing, but we're gonna watch Morphologists. And look, You got bye, Grumpy. Bye. I'm not a big fan of morphologists. Some stuff he does is all right, but for the most part, me and him are on very opposite ends of the Star Citizen spectrum. And I appreciate him. I'm not a big fan of his content. But what I am finding surprising is somebody that has definitely been called out as a shill and a white knight and all of that stuff for Star Citizen is this. And it's Pyro's delayed and I'm losing hope by morphologists. So let's see what the morph has got to say.
By now, you guys have probably already heard the news. The next big patch for Star Citizen 4.0 with Pyro, the new star system, and server meshing has been delayed.
What? What? No, I'm kidding, guys. I knew. I started watching it, Chase, but I haven't finished it. Look, guys, once again, you can go back to many of the Hot Take Tuna Tuesdays and Fermented Wednesdays and Fermented Fridays and all of that. And you can hear me say multiple times as we were getting closer and closer to the next SitCon that's, you know, coming up here in a month and a half, that there is no way that 4.0 was going to get out this year. And I still don't believe
we would be honored
that
if you would join us.
Scuffed, what's up, man? I still don't believe that 4.0 is going to make it out this year, even though they were like quarter four. They might get an Evocati or a PTU Wave 1 out to us by the end of the year, but Pyro is definitely not going live. And I still believe that we're not going to get Pyro until 2025. And I wouldn't be surprised if it got delayed again. So, and at this point, like, look, it's been 6 years. It's been 6 years. Like, I'm not mad that it's been delayed. Am I disappointed a little bit? Yeah. But like, it's not like this should be no surprise at this point. This should be no surprise to anybody. So here we are.
Once again. And this won't be a surprise to many of you long-term backers who have developed a healthy sense of pessimism like me. Something I wish I hadn't developed at all. And it's making me start to lose a bit of hope in the project. And no, before you ask, I'm not joining the Star Citizen refunds Reddit just yet. I'm a bit far from that. I've not.
I mean, what's up, TJ? I mean, when Morph is saying he's disappointed and losing hope in the project, that's kind of saying something. I mean, when you type in Star Citizen on the YouTube search bar, they like it's Morph, Board Gamer, Ollie 43. Those are the big three that you see right when you hit the enter button or the send button if you're on your phone. And it's very surprising for him to say that. I don't know. Like I said, you know, I've heard the accusations that he's a shill, he's a white knight, he simps for the game, and I kind of had some of those opinions too. As I said, I'm not a big fan of his content, but hearing this it's kind of surprising.
Lost all hope in the project, but with the CitizenCon last year that I attended, having so much hype in it, with all the features they showed off, getting us excited about what was coming and talking about how it was going to come in the next 12 months, it's hard to stay excited when they've delivered maybe 50% of what they talked about. If I'm
all right, he's I know what he's gonna say. They delivered 50% of it, and that's me being generous. Okay, fine. So here's what I have to say about 2024 and the previous year's SitCon. We got approximately 30% of what they said we would be getting in the next 12 months or so, because look at what's come out so far. then you can leave Omnipresence. Then you can leave. Like, I'm not a fan of him, and I've been on record as saying that, but I've never gone that far and called him things like that. He does kind of sound like Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory, but damn, dude, way to make an entrance. Here's my thing. We got approximately 30%, 35% of what they had talked about in 2023 SitCon. Look, they introduced Vulcan, which was supposed to come out. It was debuted and shown in an ISC 3 years ago, and it's still not what it should be. There's no multi-threading. There's or hyper-threading, multi-threading, hyper-threading. I forget. And there's various other parts of Vulcan that are still missing. We got Star Character Creator Tier 0, which doesn't have all the faces in it. It doesn't have all the hair in it. Let's see, what else did we get? Oh, the map, Star Map 2.0, it don't work. And right, the star map doesn't work. Let me rephrase that. It has a search bar function. It looks pretty, but it still suffers from all the problems that the original star map suffered from. So it's not really an upgrade. It was more of a sidestep. What else? Persistent hangars. It's not live. Really, dude? You wanna play that game? You're gonna be a dick like that? Because I have no patience for people being a dickhead. Why is this taking so long? God damn it. Of course it's not working.
Listen.
I don't know what the hell is going on. Canop, get rid of this douche. Thank you. What's up, Hassie? How you doing, man? Well, now that that's been dealt with. Yeah, my computer's freaking out right now. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we've gotten 30% of what they said we would have gotten in 12 point or excuse me, in the last 12 months, 12 point whatever. 12 months. We got 30% of what they had talked about from 2023 SitCon. So hopefully actually, I'm not going to even say what I was just going to say. I'm not, because it's not worth it.
Being generous. What we've had so far in 2023 is the 3.23 patch. That's what we've got delivered to the live environment, and it contains
one patch in 12 months, guys. One patch. It's good to see you, Hassie.
Mostly Squadron 42 polish, which is great and much needed, but ultimately not gameplay that transforms the experience of Star Citizen into something that's more like a game. And this is not coming just from me, guys. This is coming from Richard Tyrer, the now head of Star Citizen's development.
When I look at Star Citizen itself, it's a concatenation of a lot of features and a lot of content. I want it to be a cohesive experience that is all tied together. Now, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of gameplay already in the game.
No, I disagree.
It's in isolated pockets, but I want the connections. I want the interwebbing. That's the difference between features and content, and a game.
So it's something that they acknowledged themselves, and it didn't even deliver everything that was originally on the cards for it. If you recall, the cargo and inventory updates were originally planned to release with 3.23, but got pushed back and back and back until they eventually decided to make it its own .x designation for some reason, even though this patch that's still in PT now after 2 months only contains basically one major feature, the cargo update, which is part of the inventory changes. And in my view, no matter how I look at it, Star Citizen has only delivered then essentially one patch so far in...
You don't even have to say essentially or the way I look at it. It's true. They have delivered one patch in 12 months. One patch. Okay? So people might argue, well, there was 3.22.x at the end of, or in the middle of December or whatever. It's still 3.22, and that came out right before what, IAE, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we got 2 patches. I mean, but really, come on. It's been one patch, and the 3.23 patch is dog shit. And it's been dog shit since it came out, which is why the player numbers are so low. Master mode sucks. I could go on, but it's just crap. Oh, I forgot.
2023, and again, nothing that really transforms the game. So where then is the acceleration in development that we expected this year from teams switching over from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen? Where are the bespoke Star Citizen features that push the MMO forward to becoming a real game, to create gameplay loops, to create reasons to want to log in and play the game every single day? So it should come as no surprise then that I'm not the only one losing a bit of hope, losing a bit of interest in Star Citizen. It seems to me that the wider gaming community also shares this view and this feeling about the game. And this is something that can really affect Star Citizen's development in the future. It could really hurt the project. Now, I know some of you guys will just say I'm being a Debbie Downer, I'm being a negative Nancy, I'm being a doomer. But the thing is that if I look at my own statistics on my YouTube channel and new views coming in to watch Star Citizen content, it's that it's lower than it's ever been since I even started covering the project 6 years ago. And well, I'm ready to accept that I am a bad YouTuber and my YouTube channel is dying and maybe I should just quit. If I look at the CCU...
Okay, look, your channel isn't dying. Like, I'm at 700 and something subscribers, right? I get on average 200 to, you know, if it's a really crazy video, 1,000 views on it. Okay. That's nowhere near, that's a drop of water in the bucket that is the morphologist views, right? He's getting like 17, 20,000, 300,000 views. Like, come on, like your channel is not dying. But there is generally less interest in Star Citizen right now. It's not pulling down the views on YouTube videos. It's not getting the viewership on Twitch. It's not getting there we go. We don't get the viewership anymore. You know, there's nobody's watching, nobody's playing, nobody's clicking on videos because nobody likes the state that the game is in right now. If the game gets better, there'll be an uptick in viewership. There'll be an uptick in videos being clicked. And look, I hate to say it. I really do hate to say it, but CitizenCon's going to happen this year. And in the couple of weeks leading up to CitizenCon and the couple of weeks after CitizenCon, maybe even a couple of months after CitizenCon, because you got IAE the following month, people are going to be smacking away on the like button and the clicking button for viewing on YouTube videos and watching Twitch content again. But it'll fade fast because we go into it's the same loop every year. It's the same loop every year. And I didn't want to believe it my first year and a half into the game, but it's true.
game, which covers data collected from the Star Citizen website, it seems like it's also matching my statistics in new citizens. Now, if you just look at it for funding, you might be deceived into thinking that Star Citizen is doing very well this year, that funding is covering up the issues with adding new developers to the game to help accelerate the project's development. But if you look at new backers, well, you'll realize that there's far fewer new people coming in since 2020. And those smaller numbers are spending more and more money on the project to keep it going, which is why CIG have been pushing more and more ship sales to try to cover the losses in new players. The point of this exercise is not to create a video that brings people down about Star Citizen, that makes it feel like things are going in the wrong direction. Instead, what I'm trying to do here is try to help create a real sense of urgency with getting Star Citizen to a better point for CIG. That the feeling that I have, and that perhaps some of you share, is not an isolated feeling, that it's something that needs to be addressed by real changes in Star Citizen's development to help the project succeed. And 4.0 being pushed to the end of the year is going to be a massive blow to morale for at least my community and me personally. We know from the history of Star Citizen releases that Q4 release patches are almost always released live the following year, at least in Q1, worst case scenario, Q2. Meaning that if we go by history, 4.0 is probably not coming out to live until next year, Q1 or midway through 2025. So my problem is that I don't know what to look forward to right now. 4.0 seems far too distant to start thinking about anymore, and now I want to know what we're going to get in between if we get anything. And if it's nothing, then I'm really going to start feeling down. But I don't like making videos like this without giving some kind of constructive feedback. So here's what I think CIG could do to try to turn the situation around. And the first one is better contextual communication. Communication that is about things that people are most interested in concerning the development of the project in its current state. So I'm not talking about just any kind of info. As much as I love hearing about some developer who's working on really cool parts of Star Citizen or some personal information about how they started development, this is the kind of info I feel could be released when the project...
All right, so why is it... Here's what I'm going to say. Morph says 4.0 is delayed and he's concerned and he's losing hope, and people are like, oh my gosh, Star Citizen's in a bad spot. Oh my gosh. But when Grumpy was saying all the things that he was saying and saying that he wants the game to be better so that he can play the game and enjoy the game, people were up his ass calling him some of the worst things that you could call somebody. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the guy had his own Reddit category at one point. Like, what the fuck? I say stuff like this and I get called Grumpy's sewage runoff. I'm you know, we got that guy that, you know, I just had cannot deal with. Like, really? And I'm concerned for the game, and I want my community and the other communities to put a little urgency on CIG. What the hell do you think we've been doing? Like, where the hell, what do you think we've been doing? I've been doing this for 1.5 years. I'm not saying like I've been doing it the longest and I do it the best, because I certainly am not at either of them. But Grumpy did it for 3 years, 3.5 years. And he got shit on all the time for it. Remember when I made CitizenCon was meh and it was the most hated video ever, and now everything in that video is coming true? That is, yeah, I remember when you said that. I remember when you said that. So I don't understand. Like, I really, this is why I keep saying that a large portion, not everybody, because, you know, a lot of the people that are here in the chat or in Discord, or that I've met playing with Grumpy or Chaos Squad or whoever, are good folks, and I enjoy hanging out with them. But come on, a large majority of the Star Citizen community is they're freaking demented, man. They're absolutely insane, demented people, and they need help. They need help.
project is going well when we've got a lot of tangible content to sink our teeth into, not when there's a drop in interest and there's a drought in new content. They instead should focus on things that are most important about Star Citizen's development that people know about and are very interested about. For example, what's going on with the teams that have swapped over from Squadron 42? Has that
the teams that swapped over from Squadron 42, if you go back and you read a couple of months ago on their monthly reports, that everybody is in fluid motion. They're going back and forth. As the teams are fluid as we hurtle towards feature complete. That was what they said in that monthly report. So that whole we're feature complete last year at CitizenCon, according to that roadmap update or monthly update or whatever it was called, is which one is true? The monthly update or what Chris said at CitizenCon? I'm not crazy, you're crazy.
That transfer been complete, or are those teams still primarily working on Squadron 42? And if so, what's the hangup? Why are things not going as planned so far in 2024? Then what's going on with...
Because everything's broken. You're using a 21-year-old engine that you've super modified to make it do what you want it to do. And now that you guys are trying to have like an SOP, it just doesn't work for you. That's really what it comes down to.
Server meshing. How are things progressing? What issues are...
Yeah, how is server meshing progressing? We haven't had a playtest this entire year. And if we did have one this year, and I would have to do a lot of research on it, it may have happened in February or March this year was the last playtest we got. So where is that? And that was one of the things I said over a month ago when I said there is no way that 4.0 is coming out this year. They haven't even done a single playtest this year. That was what one of my reasonings was behind that.
Are the teams currently tackling? What's the big holdup with that? Why haven't we had any preview channel tests like they said they were planning on doing last year? How are things going with the plans for 1.0's release? What is the 1.0 release for Star Citizen? What is a commercial release for the game going to look like? How many star systems is that going to include? What's the next star system going to be for Star Citizen after Pyro? Is it going to be in a 4.1 patch, or is it going to be added in as part of 4.0 since it's been pushed back for so long? And some of this information could be information that's discussed at CitizenCon, but if all they're going to talk about is still stuff we know about, like Pyro and what's coming in Pyro and what's next in Pyro.
You guys want to know? Here's no, I've never got to play Pyro. I've never been in Pyro. I've watched people play in Pyro, but I never got to play in Pyro, Chase. Here's my prediction for CitizenCon this year. We are going to get a tentative release date for Squadron 42. That's going to be the big thing. That's going to be the thing they hold off until the last day, the last hour, and then they're going to show us some more gameplay footage of Squadron 42. You watch. That's more than likely what's going to happen. Now, I say tentative release because if they say they're going to release it in 2026, I would not be surprised if it gets pushed back another year to 2 years after that. Okay? I'm just saying, guys. Now, what you will see day one, most of day one and 3/4 of day two in CitizenCon is going to be post 4.0. What's happening next in Pyro? This is the next feature we're going to add in Pyro. This is this feature in Pyro, this feature and this feature and this feature, and we're going to add this into Stanton because Pyro can't have this and Stanton, or Pyro has it and we have to have it in Stanton, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the what's coming after 4.0. But make no mistake, I'm going to tell you this right now. If any of you guys think that 4.0 is going to be Pyro, server meshing, engineering, fire, what is some of the other stuff that they were talking about being in, contested zones and the arena and asteroid bases, and I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that they were talking about. Right, all of this stuff, all of this crazy stuff that's supposed to be in 4.0. If you think all of that's coming in 4.0, you lost your damn mind. It's going to be server meshing and pyro. That's it. That will be it. That is everything that's going to be in the first 4.0 patch. 4.01, 4.02, 4. However they decide to name these patches. That's when you'll get the engineering. That's when you'll get, you know, asteroid bases. That's when you get the contested zones. That's when you'll get the asteroid bases. That's when you'll get the fire. That's when all of that stuff is going to get added. It is not going to be 4.0 Jesus patch. Oh my God, full speed ahead. No, it's going to be 4.0 with pyro and server meshing, and it's going to take them months to a year to get server meshing working the way it should be working. So I'm just telling you that right now. Whatever you think 4.0 is, take 75 to 80% of that out, and that's what pyro is. The other 20%.
We've been doing that now for 3 years, and honestly, I will probably walk out
How long
of
is
the
this video of
presentation
yours,
if
Grumpy?
they end up talking about pyro and only pyro once again. And none of these questions are even about when. It's more about what's going on, and that's all I want to know. If you can't tell us when something's going to come out, fine, but at least tell us what's going on. Following is better communication targeting things that people are more interested in concerning development in a drought. I'd also like to see them take more physical action to keep people interested. Personally, I would be way more excited about a preview channel release testing the jump points or testing server meshing than I am about testing moving boxes around. Even if it were only a few incremental tests,
How long
it
is
would
this
have been
sitcom
way
video?
more exciting this year for
18
me.
minutes?
Also,
Okay.
there's a lot of people who haven't been able to test
congratulations,
pyro
Grumpy.
just yet. Maybe do another isolated pyro test that doesn't have server meshing to test some of the features of the area. How about preview channel testing of the destruction model that they've been working on, or the new changes to the flight model that they're going to do after the feedback concerning master modes? It seems like they're going to be retweaking stuff a little bit. What I'm saying here is if they can sprinkle in some more tangible stuff that we can get our hands on before we can get that big update, alongside some information about why things are taking longer, I believe it would keep people at least a bit interested until you do the full release. Obviously, releasing 4.0 would turn things around, but I'm trying to be realistic here. If there are serious issues holding up the release of 4.0 because of server meshing testing, then fine. But at least tell us what's going on and maybe let us participate in testing to make it happen just a little bit earlier if possible. Beyond that, given the information that I have, I'm not sure what more they can do. In my mind, CitizenCon is going to really struggle to be able to raise hype for the game again like it did last year, given the lack of delivery. The best they can hope for is to try to sustain it, and the way that I see them being able to do that is by talking about a release for Squadron 42, not that it's making progress, and by talking about the future of Star Citizen beyond the 4.0 release, talking about what 1.0 looks like, what a commercial release looks like, what the next star systems are going to be, what new gameplay systems are going to be in that 1.0 release.
We're going to have to wait 6 years for each of those star systems.
Anything less than that is going to be difficult for me to be interested in. And no matter what they do, it's going to be in the back of my mind that 4.0 got delayed once again. So yeah, what are you guys thinking about Star Citizen right now? Are you feeling down about it like I am? Are you losing a bit of hope?
All right, I'm feeling down about it. I have no interest in playing. I watch some of the people that I watch playing because I'm friends with them and I enjoy their opinions and I enjoy their banter with me and the conversations that we have. But on a whole, I don't go, oh my God, a new Salty Mike video. I got to click on that. Oh my God. Burks put out a video. I got to click on that. Now, I hate to put it this way, but I just don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit anymore because as Morph just said a few minutes ago, it's the same thing every year with SitCon. The hype goes up and up and up and up and up. And then by Q1, Q2 ending, it drops down into oblivion because nothing that they said was going to happen happened. And it's frustrating as hell. It's frustrating as hell. And I hate it. Like I guess for me, I don't tolerate it anymore. So yeah. And you know, sorry you feel that way, Morph, but you know.
Let me know down below and exactly what you'd like to see out of CIG to help stave off.
That's, you know, sorry you feel that way, Morph, but you know, we try to tell y'all. We try to tell you all. Try to tell you all. And as far as Squadron 42 goes, I don't think they're any further along with that than they were, you know, last year this time. So that's me. Right, exactly, Kaz. How many times do you touch the hot pot before you go, you know what, I'm not touching that anymore. I'm not doing it. And it sucks because all of us want the, you see, I think the most I think the most negative, even the most negative of us are not, the most negative of us aren't like, oh, we hate the game. We just want it to be better. That's all. And that's really it. Like none of what's up, Buck? None of us want the game to fail. None of us want the game to never exist. We just want it to do better. That's all. That's really it. But we keep getting just, you know, smacked around. So we got a couple of videos here that got sent in. One by Canop, and we're gonna check that out right now. Bring this up. So this is, I guess, a new game coming out. It's by Gematsu. It's called For the Stars, Development Vision Video. How long is this? Oh, it's not very long at all. So let's check this out, guys, right? Let's check this out. Sounds really loud. Digging the music. I'm blinded. It's so bright.
For the Stars is a survival MMO in space. You might call it an open universe sandbox game, with the focus being on exploration and scientific.
Oh no, it's a survival sandbox MMO. All the red flags and Star Citizen PTSD just hit me right in the face.
Advancement.
Right, Canop? I was blinded.
We're making this game for everybody, for people who love survival games like we do.
No, we made it for everybody. Star Citizen said that too.
People who are fascinated by science fiction and space and want to see what would happen, you know, in that proverbial
maybe they
what
hired
if,
Pedro,
what if
whatever his name is.
Capability to go into space was real and it was here and it was now. How would it be different from what we expect space to be like? And I want people who want to explore that question to be able to join us.
I like that animation. Go back.
Different from what we expect space to be like. And I want people
I like that animation. That was really cool.
To be able to join us on this journey.
Survival game in space.
Survival is the core of Snail Games' pedigree. It's what we've spent so much time working on. So we know that genre really.
Snail Games. What other games have they made? Can anybody help me here without me having to Google it? Like, I know I've heard of Snail Games and some of their titles. I just can't think of them right now.
Well, and ultimately a lot of this has been coming to this culmination of a point where we can get what we think is the ultimate survival game.
It's an Interstellar ripoff. They made
Ark. We have been working on some pretty interesting technologies to support what we're trying to accomplish, but we've actually taken a couple risks here. One of the areas that we're taking a risk in is trying to take voxel technology, which allows complete world building from the core of a planet out. We're going to have some planets that you can dig all the way through. Given that we're a realism art style, that's a really hard ask. It's something that other people haven't done in this genre before. core mechanics of the game really revolve first around exploration, going out and finding all these planets, seeing what sorts of unique resources they have, but also what challenges you're going to need to overcome. And you know, to do that, you've got to plan for it.
This
in
looks
addition
pretty,
to
but
that, we also have
it looks like we're years out
the
from
ability
this.
to take things that you find on one planet and craft and research different solutions that are nothing like what you would find
What's
on another
TikTok
planet.
trend
One of the great
tracing
stories
this
we
video?
want to explore here is what is different about humanity once we have the capability of expanding to other parts of the universe. How is that going to change our identity?
Oh, okay. Okay, Grumpy. Wish list on Steam, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Epic Store. Huh. Okay. Is this the end of the video? Are they going to show us anything else at the end here? Doesn't look like it. Interesting. I'll keep my eyes peeled for it and my ear to the ground, but once again, I'm not jumping in. I am not jumping in to games like I used to anymore. Star Citizen and unfortunately Gray Zone burnt me real bad. It burnt me real bad, and I have no time. I have no time to waste on playing another game like that. I just don't. I really don't. You know, I'll look it up here and I'll put it up on the not stream. Wow, typing is hard. Like, this is sad. This is really, really sad. Gray Zone, right? Sold almost 1 million units. No, not... Why? I didn't want to go to... I wanted to go to the Steam charts. No, why am I going to the wrong thing here? Typing hard. There we go. There we go. That's the one I wanted. This is really sad for a game that sold. Look at that. This game sold 900,000 copies its first couple of weeks. And look at that. That's sad. That is terrible. And it's funny because I kind of want to revisit this in another video because I got absolutely crucified in my review of this game. And look at it. Where all these people that defended it and told me it was my problem. It's my fault. It's my computer. I don't know what I'm talking about. Where are you? You sure as hell ain't playing it. Like, I kind of want to do a follow-up video and be like, so why aren't you guys playing anymore? I thought this was the greatest game of all time. Why aren't you playing anymore? Oh yeah, Concord is a shit show. Zero. Zero. Nobody playing that shit. You're right, that wasn't... I wonder how many people are playing, Oh, I don't have it on here. I don't have it on here. Wow. Days Gone. Days Gone. What is this? A 6-year-old game is beating the Gray Zone. Wow. That's ridiculous. They don't have the day before listed on here. Oh well. Oh well. So we got another send-in video from Grumpy. The first one was by Canop. This next one is from Grumpy. This one should be funny. This one should be really funny.
By now, most of you have probably heard of Doom.
Whoa. Hey, no. I didn't want the ad. So this is How Many Potatoes Does It Take to Run Doom by Equalo. Doom was one of my first introductions to FPS. Actually, Wolfenstein 3D was, and then this game, and I became a Doom lover. I loved Doom 1 and 2. Played the crap out of them. I had to hide it. I had to hide it from my dad because my dad didn't want me playing this game. So I would install the game on my family's PC, play it while my dad wasn't home, and then uninstall it and then hide the discs.
By now, most of you have probably heard of Doom. It's the game that people have managed to get running on everything from luxury cars to pregnancy tests. And while I'm not sure I have the technical skill or the patience to figure out how to run it on either of these devices, I decided to try a challenge of my own. I was going to get Doom running, powered entirely by potatoes.
Alright.
Now, how exactly does a potato provide power? Well, potatoes have something called phosphoric acid in them. If you take anything with zinc in it, like a galvanized nail, and stick it into a potato, the phosphoric acid begins to eat away at it. This chemical reaction creates energy, and in most cases, get the intro. Energy like this just dissipates into the environment around it.
We'll kind of skip through it.
But because potatoes also have potassium, an electrolyte, this energy is captured and transferred around the potato. So if you place a copper conductor on the other end of the potato, that conductor will be positively charged, because the electricity will be trying to find a way to escape the potato, and that's the easiest way out. This is how electricity is generated by a potato. Now, I had no idea how much electricity a potato could make, but I knew it wasn't a lot. So I needed to get this running on the lowest power device I could possibly find, around 770 potato pieces. This would put me at 100 milliamps at just over 4 volts. The reason I didn't care so much about the 5 volts is because Raspberry Pis actually run at around 3.3 volts. So that voltage overhead wasn't really going to be necessary. So then I got something like up and connected. I started questioning if I could even pull it off in the amount of time I had. I knew the clock was ticking on the potatoes, and sooner or later they would start to decompose and I wouldn't be able to use them anymore. But I wasn't going to
start all over again.
The next day, I came home from work and got back to it. My friend and I kept connecting potatoes again until eventually he left, and my wife came along and took his place.
This guy is married and his wife helped him do this. Damn, that's a keeper wife right there. That is a keeper wife right there.
Here it is. So right now, when I plug it in, it jumps up to about 110 milliamps and then drops down to a steady 80. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get any sign of life from the Raspberry Pi now. I'm really nervous because I don't want this to not work.
Wow.
So let's see.
The smell had to be amazing. I'm sure he can make potato vodka after this. And his wife is filming.
Hi, everyone.
That's a hell of a keeper wife.
It's 4:15 a.m. I've been working on this for 3 days straight, and the whole project for like probably a month now. With the help of my wife and my good friend Seth, I have been able to make this massive array of potatoes.
Suck it, nerds!
And
I don't know. That's a good question, Rakumo.
Probably around 200 potatoes.
You think it would turn it into a baked potato?
You can't even see the
short
whole
circuits?
battery. It extends that far. 0.08, which is 80.
All right. Let's see what's going on here. We're gonna skip.
That whole day at work, I was just wondering to myself, do I have what it takes to keep going with this, to get that last push up to 100 milliamps? So I came home.
So he needs 100 milliamps.
And I hooked my multimeter up to it, and I was getting way more amperage.
Because they decompose a little bit. So I would assume they shrank, which then means...
this morning, the only thing I could think would explain that would be that as the potatoes decompose before my very eyes, the starch continues to break down and it becomes less resistive. How much it's gonna need actually.
Let's see if he's able to do it. Day 6 now.
The whole day at work with the intent to come home, put away all the potatoes, and not make a video about this. But then when I got home, I realized I could still run this on a trusty old TI-84 graphing calculator.
What?
So I decided to give it another day before cleaning everything up.
Put a bake a potato using potatoes?
The next day, I went and got my hands on a TI-84 graphing calculator. These things run on 5 volts and they use super low current, anywhere from around 15 milliamps to 30 milliamps. So I know I had plenty of power. My main concern was, is it going to be okay with a little less than 5 volts? So I did a quick test. I put all of the batteries in except for one, and then used a wire to connect the 2 terminals in the last battery slot, because this would fool it into thinking that it has all the batteries in, but it's still getting a little less voltage than what it's rated for. And it worked, but I still didn't know because nothing had worked so far. So half of me was just like, there's no way this is gonna work, but I was gonna do everything I could to make this happen. So
I didn't even know you could fit Doom on a calculator.
Doom onto my calculator. Now that it was on here, I was ready to give this a try.
I had no idea Doom would fit on a T-84.
This is the last thing I had up my sleeve. If this didn't work, it was basically a month's work down the drain and
into the garbage can.
5 straight days of hard work at this, completely wasted. But I was going to give it everything I had.
Let's see. All right, let's skip
how
ahead.
bad it smells right now.
Oh, the smell had to be amazing. I can see the mold.
But I checked, and it's still at around 100 to 110 milliamps. And as quick as possible, too. Okay.
Oh, the smell had to be amazing.
Let's try turning it on. It's on. It's working.
You seen it played on a pregnancy test? That's hilarious.
Look, I told you. I wasn't kidding. It's disgusting. That white stuff on it is mold.
Mm-hmm.
That is a colony of something that I would like to eradicate very much. All right.
Oh no,
So
he's the next eradicator, guys.
No batteries.
Dude, put a mask
Only
on
wires.
with some
Wires.
scented
Plug in
Vaseline,
for
right?
these.
Like just swipe it right here. It
It's probably
helps.
still turned on.
You're eating potato chips right now, Jim.
Yep, it's still turned on. Okay, quick, let's get into Doom. No time to waste. It's not so bad once you get used to it, I guess.
Right, Mason? Oh.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Doom.
It works. It's
running on potatoes.
alive.
Oh. Right back into the action. Okay. I can't believe it. This is Doom running on potatoes. Oh.
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna watch the rest of this. That was pretty cool though.
Oh, he's angry.
If you guys want to watch the whole thing, I'll leave you the link, but I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. That's really cool. So, you know, 100 and some odd potatoes and you can run Doom on a calculator. If you can stand the smell. That had to be nasty, man. That had to be so disgusting. That had to be so disgusting. So I'm gonna do one more video. One more video. Should we do one of these on the screen? I'll make it bigger for you guys if you need me to. If you guys need this bigger, I can make it bigger. Ooh, let's back it up a little bit. We can do one of these on here, right? Or we can do the... we're all nerds in here, Grumpy. We're all nerds. Like, all of us, to some degree, enjoyed that. We all enjoyed that. I was gonna end up sharing it around anyways, but I figured since I was here, we'd just, you know, do it more. So we got you know, Star Citizen needs more money. We got these videos, or we can torture Grumpy and we can watch his review from a year ago on
Suck it, nerds!
On 2023 SitCon. See what came true, what didn't. Nerds! No, I just push buttons. I identify as a geek and I have 0 IT skills. I have minimal IT skills. Minimal. Very, very minimal. Potatoes versus citrus power. That would be a good one, actually. Watch Grumpy. Oh, that's rolling in. Grumpy in the 2023. Okay. It's either that or, you know, we watch Cats with insane plot armor, Sincerity, Hollywood's Forgotten Currency, or Titan Quest 2. Do the Grump video. Okay, so we got a lot of people that want me to do the Grump video. So I'll give it another few seconds and we'll see what other people says. Just tell them to shut up and reboot. Are you sure it's plugged in? Is the device powered on? That's generally what we get. So, all right, we'll do Grumpy. All right. I'll appease the masses and we'll do Grumpy. Here we go. Everybody knows him. It's the lovable. It's the cutie. It's Grumpy Eye. And this video is 2023 SitCon was meh.
I'm back. Hello, my name is Grumpy. No, I'm not really back. This is just an illusion. No, but seriously, you guys wanted me to talk about CitizenCon for fucking so long, and you keep on spamming every fucking video that doesn't have anything to do with Star Citizen. We're like, when are you gonna come and play Star Citizen? When are you gonna make a video on Star Citizen? So I decided to, make one. And it's been like 2 or 3 months since I did my final or my last Star Citizen video. And like since Asmongold did it, since Big Fry did it, Dr. Disrespect did one, like why shouldn't I? Or am I banished?
Dr. Disrespect, that aged like fine milk, right?
From the land of the forever alpha by the decree of the whitest of the knights. Like, come on, dude. Like, get a fucking life. So after addressing all that bullshit that people keep on fucking spamming whenever I join the game and I'm like in global chat, or whenever I join a stream of my...
It's true. I was there. It's true. Like, as soon as they find out Grumpy is in the game, they start sending shit in global.
Friends,
welcome to Star Citizen Anonymous. And here's Grumpy. Hi, my name's Grumpy Eye. It's been 5 months since my last Star Citizen video, and I haven't played the game in about 6 months. Yeah.
Such as Salty Mike, that I consider a friend.
I haven't played in months either.
I fucking hate that part of the fucking community, but yeah, let's talk about CitizenCon. Oh my god, they're working on base building. Holy shit, it's fucking amazing. Oh wait, no, this was CitizenCon 2017. But did you see the fauna though? The fauna is fucking amazing. Wait, this is still CitizenCon 2017? Like, what the But the space whales, Grumpy! Did you see the fucking space whales? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, but I also saw a sandworm back in 2016. But oh my god, the server meshing is here! Oh yes, showering server meshing! Oh no, this is another game. It's called Scavengers, and it had like up to 4,000 players in the demo for server meshing. But it's working! Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Grumpy? Nobody else has this tech! Oh no, shit, this is PlanetSide 2 from 2012, a game that is released and is working and has up to 1,500 players on a server. But okay, just please calm your boobages for a second here, and let's talk about server meshing first. And look, I don't want to be a complete asshole here, but not only did they mesh a single room with a minimal amount of clients connected to that shard, they also showed us that the tech doesn't really even work. The video that is playing right now on the screen is a video by Golgot100, and he highlighted all the bugs that have happened during that presentation. And even if you didn't catch all of the bugs during the live stream, it is very worrying that the people lost their shit over a single room that was on a mesh with like 4 or 5 clients connected to it. The issue is that we are all used to the game being in such a bad state that we lose our shit over some minor bug fixes and features being added. And don't get me wrong, I also lost my shit when they added cargo
to
salvageable ships.
I was there.
I also lost my shit when they added the tractor beams right now, like a couple of days ago, to the ships, and when they added or when they reworked the headlights so they actually work now. Well, they're not really working, but that's what I'm talking about. We are losing our shit over some minor changes, and that is very worrying, because you can see that they basically just started working on server meshing. Like, it was supposed to be in the game in 2018, and earlier this year, like in January of this year, they posted a video that was like supposed to be a series of videos, but it wasn't, it doesn't matter, but it was a video on server meshing and how they're working on it. But this is something that, like, this is...
What's funny is I can't stop them and be like, well, this is my opinion, and this is how this is, and blah, blah, blah. And like, cause this is a year-old video, and like everything is correct. Like, it's, I don't know if it's exactly a year, but it's almost a year old. And it's, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to really disagree with.
Basically the fucking beginning, and everybody lost their shit over a room that was poorly server meshed. Like, it's not even fucking working properly. Come on, guys. But it's not all that bad. The only good takeaway from that whole presentation was the replication layer that we will all be connecting to. That thing seemed to work properly, but it wasn't the main focus of the presentation, because they simply had to focus on showing you server meshing, because that is something that we've all been waiting for half a decade.
What did he say exactly?
Now, basically. So from what I understand, with the replication layer working, that basically means that 30Ks will not happen as often as they do right now, because you will be connected to the replication servers instead of the main servers. But it's still a server, and we all know how stable CG's servers are. I mean, yes, of course, it's still an alpha, and yes, they're smashing bugs that like keep on 30K'ing the servers or disconnecting you or CTDing you. Sure, at some point that will all get fixed, but it's like that point is not now, guys. Like, you understand that, right? Now let's talk about Maelstrom, penis. Now let's talk about destructible environments. If CAG pulls this off, I'm going to tip my hat to them. But there is a reason why.
Okay, so far, I wish I could put it up on here, and I don't have anything to write with. So far, no server meshing. Okay. We did get the replication layer. No server meshing, and no maelstrom, male penises. We have no male stuff in the game.
Most multiplayer games do not have this feature, especially if they are a massive multiplayer game. Most games do destructible environments with smoke and
actually, Grumpy, games like Battlefield have this technology in them.
mirrors. They literally use smoke to cover up the destruction and most of the rubble despawning, and then maybe they leave the biggest chunks laying on the ground. The reason is simple. That new object that spawns from a destroyed wall is a new entity with all of its physical properties, and it needs to be in the same place, oriented the same way on all of the clients, because every player needs to see those destroyed walls in the same way. If not, some players would have an unfair advantage in a PvP scenario.
This was another very hyped game that has nobody playing it anymore.
Therefore, all the physics and the orientation need to be handled by the server. In this case, it's going to be the replication layer, but that puts a ton of unnecessary strain on the server. But as we all know, CAG loves putting a lot of unnecessary strain on the server. But Grumpy, didn't you see the master modes? They're fucking glorious. I don't know how I keep on doing this, but like somehow I...
Guys, how glorious has master modes been? So far, Grumpy's been right on Maelstrom, server meshing. We got replication layer, so far we're 1 for 3, and with master modes, I'd say we're 1 for 4 right now.
I keep on doing this. This clip was actually from last year's CitizenCon, and we somehow still don't have master modes. But now it's time for a quick quiz.
About that.
Go down into the
I forgot about that. That was 2022 that master modes was announced, wasn't it? Oh shit.
Comment section and tell me, do you know when they actually announced the aerodynamic system and the control surfaces? I'll wait. I have time.
We don't have any control surfaces.
Actually,
we're 1 for 5.
While you're at it, you might as well subscribe, but don't subscribe.
That's true, Grumpy. That's true. You're all right. So, okay, so we're 0 for 4 then. We're 0 for 4 then.
If you said 2020, you guessed it right.
Yep. So, moving forward, we like I've just said, with the aerodynamics is we're making the ships depend much more on the real aerodynamics of the ship.
And yes, the quantum jumping animation looks really good. And yes, the master modes will solve some of the problems. But we still need to...
It's funny because we don't... I haven't played in a while, so you guys would have to correct me if I'm wrong. None of these MFDs look like this.
See it in the PU before we celebrate, because we simply don't know if the master modes are gonna cause more problems than they solve. But we won't see it anytime soon, because the only ship that has the master modes update is the Gladiator still, and we have 200 ships in the game. And what the actual shit is this? No, like seriously, like what the shit is this? And I understand that a game like this needs to have a zoom feature. I've been asking for it for a while now, but like I'm a DCS player and I have that on my slider. Why not just borrow the thing from DCS? Like this just looks jank. This is just like weird and arcadey and no. I mean, I guess for Squadron 42 it's fine, but for Star Citizen, Sure. Not only that it looks arcadey, it gives an advantage to the fighters. In this demo, you could see that the Gladiator easily took down 2 out of 6 turrets on a big-ass Corvette ship that was made to counter small fighters. So unless the turrets get a new overpowered mechanic, this will render the multi-crew ships useless and make a new meta with the Gladiators, because the Gladiators never seem to fucking die. If a small fighter can take down a Corvette without any issues, then imagine what would happen to you in a Hull C or an MSR. And I can only hope that they will balance things out and that this thing won't fucking break the game. But you never know with CAG, because remember 314 when they buffed the turrets, they were OP, and then they nerfed them, but like now they're gonna buff the fighters, and then they're probably gonna buff the turrets, and then they will buff the fighters, and then they will buff the turrets, and then they will buff the fighters, and then they will buff the turrets, and then they will buff the fighters, and then they will buff the turrets, and then they will buff... Then we have things like the FPS radar and scanning, which could potentially break...
Okay. So we'll give them master modes. They did put in master modes, okay? So for right now, they are 1 for 4. 1 for 4. This right here with the FPS scanning, that makes it 1 for 5. 1 for 5. So far.
The game for PvPers. I mean, if you can see through walls, it gives you an advantage over the guy that is trying to hold a room. But I guess with all the desync, you already have a huge advantage, because you can turn a corner and shoot a camper before he even sees you entering the room. Or you might as well be invisible, because that's still a thing. But okay, I might be overreacting, maybe it will be completely balanced and fine. But most of the PvP games that have that kind of a feature tend to keep those kinds of abilities on a very long cooldown, and they balance it out somehow. And then we have the raids that seem promising, but we still have to see.
Oh, the raids. We're 1 for 6. We're 1 for 6.
them and what they look like, and they can call it whatever they want, but it's basically just a mission. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about getting new missions in the game because the game itself is really boring and all the missions are super repetitive. But calling it a raid got me slightly worried because it sure seems like a more complex mission than any of the missions and events that we currently have in the game. So does that mean that most of the missions are going to be as simple as the ones that we currently have, and then we'll have the raids that will add some complexity to the game? And if so, are they going to be different every time, and how many will we get? Because I've had my fair share of raids and dungeons in Destiny 2, and even though they are fun the first time you play them, you will go back to them only for the random high.
Should we call this 1 for 7 because they had to take out the trolleys from the game? So should we say, so we should we count that as 1? Should we, guys? Because right now we're 1 for 6. Right, they got master modes in, no maelstrom, no FPS scanning, no shit. I should be writing this stuff down, and I have Windows 11, so I don't know where the fudge everything is right now. I hate that it auto updated on me like that. Let me see. I don't think I have notebook anymore. Notepad. Yep, notepad. Okay. Okay, we got master modes. Here's the list of things that we did not get. Raid Shadow Legends. Maelstrom. Control surfaces. Shit. FPS scanning. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trolleys. I know I'm forgetting something else. What else? Oh, it doesn't have show transcript. Oh, server meshing. So there we go. So we got 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 1 for 7. We're 1 for 7. I'll share it. I generally share it at the end, so I will share it. Don't worry. I got FPS scanning. I got FPS scanning. So I got master modes, raids, maelstrom, control surfaces, FPS scanning, the trolley, and server meshing. That's what I have so far. All right, let's get back into it.
High-level loot drops, and not because they're fun to play 10 or 20 times. So after a while, it turns into a serious grind, and that's when the game starts being repetitive and boring. And even though you have other content in the game, if the rare and high-tiered loot is only found in the raids, you will only want to play those raids, but you will hate every single bit of it. Now the changes to the audio sound great, but CAG really needs to get their shit together and figure out what kind of a game they want to make. There is no point in programming and or recording 2 different sounds for everything that happens around you. Not only that it's time consuming, but it's a known fact that most players will use the option that gives them a bigger advantage in a PvP or a PvE scenario, no matter if it's realistic or not. I myself would love the sound to be realistic because it's immersive, but you either work on on that or you work on the unrealistic sound design, which is also fine. But you don't do both unless you want to half-ass it and use low-pass filters to filter out everything that's happening outside of your cockpit or EVA suit, which isn't really what was advertised. Resource management and engineering sound great, and they told us a year ago how it's all gonna work, but I really wanted in the game to test it out, because I'm hoping that they will not break the game completely. Yeah, of course Grumpy is gonna say that something that is completely amazing is gonna break the game. Like, fuck that guy. No, but listen, I have a bunch of friends that are playing this game, and they have a bunch of ships, I have a bunch of ships. Why in the hell would they be on board my ship as an engineer, as a crew member, continuously fixing the ship up just to make it run? Like, why would they do that if they can get a Gladiator, if they can get an Arrow, or if they can get like their own multi-crew ship? But then again, will you even be able to solo a multi-crew ship? And yes, I know that they were saying this all along, but you still need to be able to fly the damn thing and to run away from danger if you need to. And I'm not even talking about
FPS
fighting.
sliding.
Let's say you want to hold some drugs with the Hull C from Pyro to Stanton. You will need escort ships to make sure you don't get pirated. But if you also need a ton of crew members on your ship just to make the ship work properly, I don't think that's a good idea.
Why did that shrink? Was engineering supposed to be in by this year? Was engineering supposed to be in this year? Was that part of that? I think you're right. I think engineering was supposed to be in here. So engineering, quantum boost, the quantum jumping animation 2.0. What else? So here's what I have. Maybe I should make a video on this. So we got master modes. We got distro centers 50-50, right? We got them in, but they didn't, they're not done yet. All right. So those are the two that made it in. We do not have raids. We don't have Maelstrom. We don't have control surfaces, no FPS scanning, no FPS sliding, no trolley, no server meshing, the audio fixes, no quantum jumping animation 2.0, engineering, quantum boost. I will put in, though, we did get the FPS scope upgrades and FPS, well, that night vision goes with the scope. So we did get FPS scope upgrades. We did get that. But so that's 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They've gotten 3 out of 14 so far. Polaris isn't supposed to be out till IAE. Base building, they said they weren't going to start working on until Q1 this year. I don't think. Oh, yeah. EVA 2.0 and half-ass star map 2.0. That's right. That's right. Okay.
I'm all about having to maintain your ship and having to fix stuff that deteriorates over time. And I love the idea of having more stuff on our ships to interact with. But I'm just hoping that it won't be yet another tedious task that needs to be done all the time just to make the ship function properly. But did you see the new hair tech, Grumpy, and the cloth tech? Did you see the beards? Did you see the beards? Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, sure, but like, whatever. Like, I'm all about gameplay. That's a good addition.
You're right.
Okay.
EVA 2.0.
But in the end, all that I'm saying
I'll
is
take that
we need to see all of those things happen in the game. And that after all the Citizen Cons in the past, I simply do not trust CEG with their deadlines. Chris said that all of this should be done and released to Star Citizen in the next 12 months. And everybody was hyped, but I think it's just laughable. You need to understand that it took them 3+ years to release some of the features like the tractor beams or the new flight model, and that they announced the personal
which ship is this? Oh, it's the SRB.
And freight elevators quite some time ago, and we
That's right. So cargo elevators, those aren't in. Personal hangars aren't technically in. And vehicle in the hangars aren't in. And the what is that thing called? Oh, item recovery. That got delayed too. Okay. Okay.
Still don't have any of that in the game. And I remember that the models for the tractor beams were done at least like 2 years ago, because I made my YouTube channel around that time and I covered it, and it still took them this long to make them work. Now once you understand that, you might start understanding how long it will take them to finish all the things that they showcased during this CitizenCon. But Grumpy, they finished Squadron 42. They have more people working on Star Citizen now. No, it's not finished. They're still working on it, and there are also 2 more sequels that are planned for Squadron 42. But come on, Grumpy, you know this. It's going to be much faster and easier to make a sequel. No, it's not. And if you think it is, you're just delusional. Anyway, I have a video here that I posted a while back. It's about Squadron 42 and the problem with Squadron 42 and how it needs to be great. But yeah, just watch it after this one, I guess. And I'm not gonna lie, Squadron 42 looks nice, but the main issue I have with the whole presentation is that they really didn't show us what the gameplay is going to be like. They did show us some FPS combat, and honestly, it looked very clunky. And on top of that, we have the typical CAG way of reinventing the wheel and making it a fucking triangle with a crosshair that moves around. Like, there is a reason why most games don't do that, but again, I might be wrong. Like, we gotta see it, we gotta play it to know if it's good or not. Other than that, I will only say this, which is basically what I said in my Squadron 42 video that you should watch after this one. And that is that Squadron 42 needs to be a phenomenal game.
It has to
because
be
the broad gaming community already sees Star Citizen and Squadron 42 as scams. And if the game is mediocre, people will tear it apart.
Maybe not a scam,
simply
but
because
a joke.
it took them more than a decade to release a mediocre game, which in the end can make a negative impact on Star Citizen. It is not all that bad though. I am, for the first time in the past 2 years, actually really excited about the future of the game. Not because of CitizenCon, but because of the amount of content that we just got this month. We have a preview build that is locked behind a paywall of $1,000 that is currently running Pyro, and it looks really nice. And you can see how the gameplay in Pyro could change the PU forever, especially if you want to run drugs from Pyro to Stanton. On the other hand, we have a PTU that is locked behind a $10,000 or $25,000 paywall that has a working vehicle, tractor beams, and a ton of new and improved stuff. So you can see that something is really happening and that there is some actual progress. Now the issue is that all of that will go away probably as soon as the ship sales event ends, and you will be left empty and wanting more for quite some time. I'm hopefully wrong, but I simply have a pretty good track record of being right about these things, unless they really decide to go down the easy route and release Pyro to the PU with the jump gate being a loading screen that basically connects you to another server, which honestly at this point would be a good idea because it's better than nothing. But I digress. All in all, I will give this CitizenCon 4 out of 10 grumplings because it really reminded me of the CitizenCon from 2016 with all the sandworms and all that nonsense. And until I see all those things in the game, I will not trust them a single bit, purely because most of what they showcased this year is something that they were showing us for years already. And the fact that Tony Z is still MIA and that they didn't even mention the economy system once is a huge letdown. So it is obvious that they are not working on it at all. And that can happen with any of the features they promised this year. They could potentially drop them for the time being and start working on other things. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong about all of this and that we will get all the things from CitizenCon within a year, but it's probably not gonna happen. But I will quote my friend that was watching CitizenCon and he was all hyped up and he basically just yelled, well, but it was on Discord, it doesn't matter. He yelled, "The next 10 years will be lit." And that's, ladies and gentlemen, basically what's going to happen. The next 10 years will be lit. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons that are supporting me through the harsh times of not covering Star Citizen, even though I was a Star Citizen, whatever, content creator for a while. If you want to support me, Patreon link is down there. You have the subscribe, of course, but you have also the join button. You have the chat.
It's a movie you can play.
You know all the things and how things work. So yeah. So yeah, don't forget to bring the towel when you're traveling into space. I actually remember to say this because I'm not using that catchphrase or whatever in a while. But yeah, love you all, and mwah, bye. Also, yeah, I'm not back. I was just passing by. Bye. Don't buy. Anyway.
Well, folks, that was the Grumpy Eye. I'll share it again. I shared it in the middle of it, but I'll share it again. Here you go. That came out November 4th of 2023, so very close. We're 3 months away from that being a year-old video. That did not go so well for Star Citizen. So this is my final score right here for what's in, and I'll share that here in a second. Share that here in a second. Hold on. Clicking hard. Clicking is hard. All right, let's see if I can get this on here. There we go. Let me zoom in. Yeah, I know it's my head's blocking it. So this is what made it in. We got master modes, distro centers 50-50 because they are still sort of working, but not all the way complete. We got FPS scopes, star map 2.0, and then this is what was shown last this was shown but has not made it in yet. We have the raids, Shadow Legends, Maelstrom, control surfaces, FPS scanning, FPS sliding, trolley, server meshing, audio, quantum jumping animation 2.0, engineering, quantum boost, cargo elevators, personal hangars, vehicles in the hangars, and item recovery. So, damn. That was... What's up, Carl? That's, oh yeah, Star Hair. But that's only 50-50 as well, because not all of it's in. Same with Star Character Creator. That's only 50-50. And Vulcan made it in, but that's also only 50-50. So it's been an interesting year for Star Citizen after SitCon. That hurts me to look at. That really, really hurts me to look at. That hurts. It hurts so bad. It really does. It hurts bad. Well, anyways, guys, I need to get going. I appreciate you guys all being here. Maybe I'll make a video out of this. I don't know. I would have to do a lot of research and all of that and pull a lot of video and record it. But we'll see. We'll see what I can do with it. But I definitely have to get going here. I got some things that I'd want to do. And yeah, star map is also 50-50. You're right. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. Move that down. That sucks. I'm not going to bed. I just need to end the video. I just need to end the stream because I got some other things I'd like to do. I would definitely like to raid out to somebody. We got 3 people viewing, so I guess we can raid out to somebody. How do we do that? I am not very good at it. Let's see. What do we got? Is Revere on? No, he ended his stream. I don't have any of my friends streaming right now. No, nobody I know is streaming. I don't think. Let me double check. Let me double check. Let me make sure. Nope, nobody I know is streaming right now. So we're not going to raid out to anybody. It'll just be, we'll just end it. We'll just end it. But thank you guys for coming by and visiting. I'm going to go hang out with my wife for a little bit. And, well, I'll be up all night long. So hit me up on Discord. I'll be around. And you can sort of raid on YouTube, but I haven't set it up yet. I don't know how to do that. I really don't. It's a thing called redirect, and I'm not sure how to set it up. And you have to get permission from the content creator that you want to redirect to or raid out to. Find a low content SC creator or a low viewership SC creator. I can do that. Let's see what we got. Raid channel. Let's go all the way down. Oh, that's let's find somebody here. Oh, here's one with only 1 person watching, so we'll raid out to them. With that, guys, so long. Thanks for all the fish. Thanks for being here, and thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all.